Welcome to the EQFIT podcast. Our mission is to equip people to prosper in every aspect of their life. Whether you're at home or in the workplace, we explore practical ways of improving success, satisfaction, finding balance, and building enjoyable and beneficial relationships. Thank you for joining us.
What if I told you that the 50 grand you just dropped on a brand new CRM system is, well, almost guaranteed to fail?
And it's usually not even the software's fault, right?
Right, exactly. It's not the software. It's not the implementation team. It's actually entirely because of what you do in the first 5 seconds after a major client threatens to cancel.
Which is such a wild concept to wrap your head around.
It really is. So look, if you're an entrepreneur listening to this right now, I just want you to step back from the daily grind for a second.
Yeah, just pause.
Because if you're working harder than you've ever worked, burning the candle at both ends, but you still feel like you're just treading water while your business is stalling, this deep dive is literally engineered for you.
I mean, it's an incredibly common place to find yourself, but it's deeply isolating too.
Oh, for sure.
That pervasive feeling of, running your own personal engine at absolute maximum capacity, but somehow still losing ground to competitors.
Yeah, it's exhausting. But today, we're unpacking some really remarkable source material that completely dismantles how we look at that exact problem.
Absolutely.
We're doing a deep dive into Steve Goodner's piece, The Thriving Business Ecosystem. And the whole mission today is to, fundamentally rewire your strategic mindset.
Right, getting away from that old machine model.
Exactly. We need to stop treating your business like a broken vending machine. We're going to give you the tools to transition from just surviving your company to actually thriving.
And Goodner anchors this whole philosophy with a story about a guy named Mark, which, honestly, Mark's situation is going to sound uncomfortably familiar to, almost anyone who has ever tried to scale a company.
Oh, Mark is the textbook definition of a founder doing everything right. Right.
Yeah.
According to modern business advice, anyway.
Yeah.
Like, he saw growth stalling, so he just started throwing solutions at the wall. He bought that massive new CRM system I mentioned.
Hired the high-priced social media agency.
Right. Pulled his whole team off the floor for a 2-day sales workshop.
Redesigned the website.
Twice in 1 year. And he even brought in this expensive consultant to completely restructure his sales comp plan, just because he heard on some show that comp structure was his bottleneck.
And despite all of that, all that capital, all those hours, 6 months later, Mark is just sitting in his office completely exhausted.
Yeah.
His team is frustrated, and his absolute best performers are quietly updating their LinkedIn profiles.
Because he's basically playing a never-ending game of whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
fix the supply chain, the marketing dries up, you hit them all on the left, 2 pop up on the right.
It's just endless.
It made me think of, treating a really complex houseplant like a broken car. If a car is broken, you swap out the alternator, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Mark is swapping out parts on a living thing. He's painting the leaves green instead of checking the soil.
Which is the exact trap that catches so many stressed out founders. Goodner's central thesis is that your business is not a linear machine.
Right. You don't just pull a lever and get a widget.
Exactly. It's a living, highly sensitive, interconnected ecosystem. You can't fix individual puzzle pieces if you don't even know what the picture on the lid of the box looks like.
Yeah, a weakness in one tiny, obscure area literally alters the whole organism.
So if it's not a machine, we need a better framework. And Goodner uses a forest.
A forest. I love this analogy.
Right, because if you want to assess a forest's health, you don't just fly a drone over the canopy. You have to start where nobody in the boardroom ever looks.
Underground.
Which brings us to the first of the 5 layers of a thriving ecosystem. The roots.
The invisible infrastructure.
Yeah. Goodner calls this the inner operating system.
Right.
But, and this is key, we're not talking about your tech stack.
Right, it's not software.
No, the inner operating system is you, the founder, the leader making the calls.
What?
It's your self-awareness, your emotional intelligence, your core values, and honestly, how you metabolize stress when nobody is watching.
Okay, let's camp out on that emotional intelligence piece for a second, because the source drops this staggering statistic. It says emotional intelligence, or EQ, accounts for nearly 90% of the difference between high-performing leaders and average ones.
90%, yeah.
And I got to push back on that. Wait, really, 90%? We're talking to seasoned entrepreneurs here, people who read complex P&Ls, navigate global supply chains. Are you telling me that a Soft skill outranks pure strategic genius by that much.
I know. It's the most common objection to this whole framework. But you have to look at the biology of a crisis.
Okay, walk me through it.
Let's say you're a strategic genius, but you lack EQ.
Huh.
The moment that major client cancels, your brain perceives a literal threat.
The fight or flight response.
Exactly. Your amygdala fires, your system floods with cortisol. And when that happens, your prefrontal cortex, the exact part of your brain that reads the P&L and builds the strategy, it literally goes offline.
Wait, it just shuts down.
Completely shuts down.
Okay.
So your strategic genius effectively vanishes the exact moment you start to panic.
That is wild.
If you can't regulate your nervous system, your brilliance is blocked. You lash out. You make defensive decisions. You avoid hard conversations.
So EQ isn't just fluffy stuff.
Not at all. It's the ultimate human capital risk mitigation strategy. It is the literal bedrock. If your roots are shallow, a moderate wind will topple the whole tree.
That reframes it entirely. You could be the smartest person in the room, but if you alienate your executive team because you can't handle a missed target, your intelligence is useless.
Which leads us seamlessly right into the environment where those roots actually live. Layer 2, the soil.
The soil, so this is the people, the culture.
Exactly. And the text makes a great clarification here. Culture isn't, a ping pong table or a beer fridge.
Or that motivational poster with the eagle on it.
Right. Culture is simply the default behavior of your team when the CEO is not in the room.
Ooh, that's good. It's psychological safety. It's
Wow.
trust. But talk to me about that story in the source, the perfect resume candidate, because that illustrates the soil concept perfectly.
Oh, this story is fascinating. So this company hires an absolute superstar. On paper, this person is going to revolutionize the department.
A total unicorn.
Right. But within 90 days, the entire team culture had collapsed and the superstar was failing.
So what actually happened? Because my first thought is, oh, they lied on their resume.
Yeah, we always blame the hiring process. But the issue was the toxic soil they were planted in. The superstar comes in, super motivated. Second week, they suggest a highly efficient new workflow.
Makes sense.
But the manager they report to has shallow roots, low EQ. They feel deeply threatened by how competent this new person is. So the manager publicly shoots down the idea in front of everyone to protect their own fragile ego.
Oh, wow. So the new hire learns instantly that innovation gets punished.
Exactly. You plant a perfect seed in poisoned soil where there's rampant passive aggression or defensive leadership. The seeds can't grow. They learn to keep their head down, and eventually they just leave.
Wow. So no amount of talent can outperform a toxic culture. Okay, so we've looked underground at the roots and soil. Now we can finally look above ground. Layer 3.
The visible layers. Goodner calls this the growth engine.
The heavy machinery, sales, marketing, execution, KPIs, the stuff founders spend 99% of their time on.
Exactly. But there is a huge difference between the structured engine and what Goodner calls random acts of hustle and hope.
Random acts of hustle. I love that phrase. It really captures that frantic energy.
It does.
It totally reminds me of, imagine sitting in a car, you put the gear shift in neutral, and you just slam your foot on the gas.
Yes.
The engine is roaring, you're burning expensive fuel, making all this noise, you're gripping the wheels, sweating, thinking, man, I'm working so hard right now.
But you haven't moved an inch.
Right, because the transmission isn't engaged. You're confusing motion with progress.
And to get that car out of neutral, Goodner says we have to look back at emotional intelligence, especially in sales.
Okay, connect those dots for me. How does my sales team's EQ impact top-line revenue?
Well, the outer tactical game of sales is powered by the inner emotional game. A high EQ salesperson isn't just reading a brochure, they're actively reading the room.
Right.
When a client pushes back on price, a low EQ rep gets defensive. They feel rejected, so they argue or just panic and aggressively discount the product.
Which kills your margins.
Exactly. But a high EQ rep regulates their own anxiety. They empathize with the client's underlying fear of, making a bad investment. So they ask questions to uncover the real objection.
So empathy is literally the transmission that connects the engine to the wheels.
Exactly. Technology is useless if your team can't connect with the human across the table.
Okay, so let's pull back. Look at the atmosphere around the whole forest. Layer 4, climate control.
The climate, this is all the external forces, market trends, the economy, and right now, obviously, the massive explosion of AI.
Oh, yeah. The climate is changing faster than ever. Everyone's screaming, adopt AI or die in 3 years.
Right. But Goodner reveals something so counterintuitive here. The main barrier to navigating this new climate to adopting AI is rarely technical. It's emotional.
Okay, hold on. Let me just play devil's advocate for the listeners.
Go for it.
Setting up a secure AI ecosystem for a mid-sized company is a massive IT undertaking. You need engineers, data hygiene. Are we really reducing that huge technical hurdle to, like, founders having hurt feelings?
It's a fair point. The execution is highly technical. But Goodner is talking about the barrier of initiation. Why do companies delay starting that process for years until it's too late?
Okay.
That delay is emotional. It's a founder paralyzed by the fear of picking the wrong platform and looking foolish. Or worse, it's an identity crisis.
Identity crisis.
Yeah. If an AI can analyze data and write copy better and faster than the founder can, subconsciously the founder is wondering, well, what is my value here anymore?
Oh man, so they aren't avoiding tech because they can't code. They're avoiding it to avoid their own potential obsolescence.
Precisely. They make excuses about waiting for the market to settle, but the root cause is emotional paralysis.
Wow. So navigating the climate requires the EQ to separate your ego from the tools the company needs, which brings us right back to the roots.
Always back to the roots. And all these systems' roots, soil, engine, climate, they interact to produce one final outcome. Layer 5, the fruit.
The fruit, the yield, sustainable finances, client retention, legacy. And the rule here is pretty brutal. You cannot pick healthy fruit from a tree with rotting roots and poison soil.
You cannot hustle your way out of a broken foundation.
Right. Which leads to the test's most confronting realization, the ultimate mirror.
Yeah, this is a heavy one. Goodner says unequivocally, your business will never outgrow your personal capacity as a leader.
Never outgrow you.
The organization is an active mirror reflecting you. Your mindset, your unexamined emotional patterns, they physically shape the company's structure. If you are chaotic and highly stressed, your operations will be chaotic and highly stressed.
I mean, if the business is a direct mirror of my internal state, that is terrifying for an exhausted founder. It strips away all the excuses. You can't blame Gen Z or the economy or the algorithm.
You are the ultimate bottleneck.
Yeah.
But Goodner doesn't just drop that on you and walk away. He brings in this amazing piece of biological science, neuroplasticity.
The biology of hope. Tell me how this works for someone who feels permanently hardwired to panic.
We used to think adult brains were fixed, but neuroscience proves that the adult brain remains incredibly plastic. It physically changes structure based on focused training.
Really? Like physically changes?
Yes. It's not just think positive. When you practice emotional regulation and pause before reacting, you are physically strengthening the neural circuits in your prefrontal cortex.
That is the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. It
Yeah.
means you aren't stuck. You can literally rewire your brain's hardware to handle more stress without panicking.
Exactly. Upgrading your brain deepens the roots, which cleans the soil, which finally lets the engine gain traction. Transformation is always possible.
Okay, so we've mapped the whole puzzle box. But how do we actually apply this? The source gives us a 15-minute ecosystem audit.
Yes, and the logistics are intentionally simple but hard to do. You need 15 uninterrupted minutes. Quiet spot. Turn off every single notification.
Wait, turning off Slack and email for 15 minutes. For a stressed founder, that might be the hardest exercise in this whole deep dive.
Oh, absolutely. It forces you to actually feel how exhausted you are, but you have to stop the noise to get an accurate diagnostic read.
It's triage. Okay, so what are the 5 questions we need to ask?
Layer 1, roots. When pressure hits, like a client complaining, are you leading from grounded self-awareness, or does your autopilot take over and spread anxiety to the whole room?
Ouch. Okay, layer 2, soil. Are your people genuinely giving their best effort or just quietly surviving the day? And do they actually feel safe telling you the ugly truth about a failing project?
Layer 3, growth engine. Are your sales connected to a repeatable system, or are they just those exhausting random acts of hustle?
Layer 4, climate. Are you using AI and tech intentionally to solve problems? Or are you paralyzed by fear? Or maybe adopting every shiny new tool out of panic?
And layer 5, fruit. Are your current results sustainable? If you hit your revenue goal, but you have to maintain this crazy stress level, would you be proud to be working at this exact pace 5 years from now?
Ooh, 5 more years of the grind. That's a gut punch. So once you spot the weak layer, what's the protocol?
Goodner uses the EQFIT framework. Assess, equip, align, and succeed.
We just did assess with the audit, unpack, equip, and align for me.
Equip is actively acquiring a tactical tool, like the 3-second rule. training yourself to literally count to 3 before replying to an angry email.
Keeping the prefrontal cortex online.
Exactly. Then align means restructuring your environment to support it. So block actual buffer time on your calendar between meetings so stress doesn't compound.
You integrate the emotional tool into the physical calendar.
Right, which leads to succeed. But success here isn't just more revenue. It's more scale with significantly less stress. Protecting your well-being while growing.
So to synthesize all this,
Yeah.
we have to ditch the whack-a-mole mentality. See the business as a living forest. Sustainable scaling starts underground. Upgrading your EQ isn't a luxury, it's a prerequisite.
It's the ultimate leverage point. And the best reassurance Goodner gives is this. You don't have to fix the whole forest today.
Right, you don't need all the answers tonight.
The audit is just the first step. Seeing the picture on the box.
Because you can't map a route out of the woods if you want to admit where you are.
Exactly. And building on that idea that culture is what happens when you aren't looking, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Let's hear it.
What if the most crucial work you do for the survival of your business tomorrow isn't some major strategic task on your calendar? What if the most important thing you do all week is simply how you choose, in a fraction of a second, to react to the very first thing that goes wrong?
Thank you for joining us for this episode. If you have any questions about this week's episode, or maybe a suggestion for future episodes you'd like us to explore, please contact us through our website at eqfit.org. For more information and inspiration, connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at EQFIT.